Hi everyone, it's great to see you. I'm going to be taking a walk around the yard today to sort of look at how things are doing. Here we are, it's almost Christmas. I'm outside without a winter coat, which is amazing, but we are supposed to have a big storm come through later this afternoon, although I think we're probably just going to get rain, no white Christmas for us. So let's see what we have going on in the garden this time of year. One of the things that I'm really enjoying is feeding the birds, which for us here, we have one way over there, two, and then over here, you can see 3 bird feeders. Yes, and so I say bird feeders, but yes, really squirrel feeders. So there is our little friend there, and often I'll look outside and just see squirrels sitting on the bird food. So this is a safflower seed cylinder that the squirrel is eating, which they don't seem to mind too much, not their favorites. The bird feeders that are over here are all the hot pepper. So they sort of get up and eat a bit of them, and then they're like, yeah, it's not their favorite by far, but they're hungry enough that they will eat that. You can see that my climbing hydrangea here on the picket fence is completely defoliated. But I do like how for the winter interest, you still have some of the dried blooms from last year, and you can see the buds for next year coming, which really is actually kind of exciting. This is the one time of year that I can see through to the picket fence and go, oh, if it didn't have the climbing hydrangea on it, I would paint the picket fence and really update it, but there's not much I can do. I actually have some of the pieces of the fence here have been sort of like pushed aside. Let me see if I can show you by the hydrangea climbing through. So I can't even really reattach it. The climbing hydrangea is just so strong. But it is interesting, and the birds perch in it, and it's really cute. What can I say? And then over here's the shed. So I hung a little wreath on here. I ended up leaving the cabbages and kale because they still looked so good, even though it's been so cold. Here we have all the boxes of our great porcelain bluestone that we're going to put down for a path, but it got too cold, the ground got frozen, so it's going to sit there until the ground unfreezes. And here we have some of our resting hydrangeas. This is a pistachio, and all the ones that are in the ground really have defoliated now, which is good, just like they're supposed to be. Here's my Rose of Sharon. Everything's sleeping. I just love how our dwarf ginkgo tree looks here. So cute. So here's the whole side yard. I'll sort of step back. We have the 2 grow bags up here of the garlic that I planted, which have the cloches sort of over them here because I came out and obviously a squirrel had been digging. And so I replanted everything. The garlic had good root systems on them, so I quickly planted them and then just threw the cloches over. Hopefully that will be enough to protect it. There's my buckets over the hydrangea. The few hydrangea that I decided needed a little extra protection. But everything is really pretty quiet, which is fine. I just can't wait for spring, although I'm excited about Christmas. So I'll enjoy Christmas this weekend, and then I'll look forward to spring. I have to say though, I was browsing through some websites that sell clematis, and I was so tempted to purchase. That's my downfall in the winter. You start planning, and it's just so tempting to go online. It's so easy now to get some flowers. So here's one of my bags in the pot. These are just the pot in the pot right now. And here's the lemon coral sedum that I decided I'd see if it overwinters. So this is zone 7, and we're zone 6B, but it's kind of sheltered here. So you'll see throughout the yard that I have these pots different places. I'm going to see if the lemon coral sedum makes it. That is Creeping Jenny next to it. The Creeping Jenny should make it. So we'll see. First year I'm trying to do that. Here's my daylily beds. Oh, if you get close, you can see some of the little guys there still, but they all just really die down. Here's another lemon coral. See, and this one's more exposed, and you can tell that it's looking, yeah, it's looking a lot more worse for wear. Here's the shade garden. That isn't that shady at the moment. So the heuchera is evergreen, but it does sort of flop over for me. As you can see, in the spring, I end up coming out and taking a lot of the, the under foliage. It sort of gets a little brown, but they're still there and going. Another empty pot in the pot, just waiting. This pot I think has a hosta in it, and my hostas seem to do really well. Oh, and here's our azaleas. So I love azaleas in that their foliage turns purple through the winter. And it always is such a lovely surprise to me to see how it changes. You can see I tucked in some more pots underneath here. Lemon coral sedum, we'll see how they do sheltered in there. But it really adds that interest to have that purple foliage. So the azaleas and the rhododendrons are evergreens. So they don't drop their leaves. There's another hydrangea there. Oh, and there's the squirrel waiting for me to leave so he can come back to his food. Our pots of our heuchera. So these are still looking good, nice and evergreen. That just amazes me. They're really pretty though to have those little spots of lime out here. Maybe I should do more pots like that next year. And then back in this back corner, I put some more of my pots in the pots. So these have heuchera in them, so they'll overwinter. They're looking really good. One has lemon sedum over there. I have a big rhododendron bush up here. This is a beautiful one. It's really white with just a tinge of pink. And as you can see, so rhododendrons set their buds right after they bloom, like last July. So it is covered in buds. And it's so neat to see them through the winter. It is very happy to think that, okay, this is going to bloom beautifully come next year. You'll notice that I have this one rose bush that's still in a bag. This was one of the bags in the pots, and it was the only rose that I did that way. And I'm waiting for it to drop its leaves. It actually just stopped blooming. So once it drops its leaves, I'll move it into the shed, but it's still going pretty good. There are bird feeders. Our bird feeders are just so active. We get a lot of woodpeckers, which is a lot of fun. And I love that. We have another pot here covering a hydrangea. Oh, and you can see the daylilies poking through here. Oh boy. There's the sky pencil holly that I tied up. We gave the crab apple tree here a really, really good trim to keep it in check. Crab apples get to be about 30 feet. So let me back away a little bit. So now maybe it's 8-9 feet, which is much more doable. It's really close to the house. So we really want to keep this more of a specimen plant, if at all possible. Oh, little bird just landed on that bird feeder. You can see our hydrangeas here. More of the daylilies. Look at them. It's almost Christmas. But you know what? They'll be fine. These will either make it through the winter. If we get a nice layer of snow, then actually that gives them really good insulation. Or this part will die off and it'll just sprout again come the spring. Okay, let's walk around again. We're going to go around the side of the yard to the front. And I'll show you how things look up there. So here we have more of our rhododendrons. You can tell here's their buds. Now rhododendrons, because they're evergreen, of course, they're going to hold these leaves, but sometimes when we have a really cold night, oh, and you can see the buds on the azaleas here too. Azaleas are actually a type of a rhododendron, so very closely related. And this is a dragon holly with some leaves stuck in it here. Take that out. So sometimes it's really, really cold. You'll wake up and you'll look out at your rhododendrons and all the leaves will sort of like be hanging down. It is not a good look, but they do that when it gets really cold. They just sort of pull in, and later on in the day, mine perk up. So this morning, that's how they looked. It had gotten cold, and now they're all up. Look at that beautiful purple azalea. Just gorgeous. So it, you know, in the spring, it turns back to green, but so different for the winter. Just makes it a lot more interesting. Oh, pretty kissing ball. You can see that the azaleas over here also turn that purple. But that's really by the variety that you have. So if you're considering putting in an azalea, you do want to see what they're going to look like for your winter interest. We have a couple of hydrangeas down here. Another pot in the pot. That lemon coral sedum is also going well. I love doing experiments like that. That's what gardening is, all one big experiment. And look at this lemon coral sedum. Oh my goodness. Still going. This gets a lot more exposure here, so I'm not sure how we'll do, but we have to get credit for giving it a try. Some more of my evergreen plants. This is a different type of azalea. So these don't turn purple. And then we have some big holly bushes up here, which look really pretty right now. The berries in this kind actually are a little bit more of a orange than a red, but it's loaded this year. I love that. I always wanted a holly bush that I felt had so much holly in it I could go trim it and use it for decorating. And now that I have one that probably is to that stage, I'm almost afraid to go out and cut it. So this year we're just enjoying the holly outside. This, I believe, is another type of Japanese holly down here, but no big red berries. I love the traditional holly. Now these are two female holly bushes, we know, because they have the berries. And if we swing back around over here in this corner, so this is where the male holly bushes are. So these bushes don't get any berries, but they do provide that nice evergreen. And I actually did trim some of these and put them in the front urns. They're just not as noticeable back there. There's the front urns over here. The front urns was quite a story. I took out the mums and the drainage is really blocked. So we took all the dirt out and we decided to buy a pre-made planter, and then I just took and stuffed in around it. So the pre-made planter is like this center part here, and then I stuffed greens all around it to fill in, because these are pretty big planters. That's where I put some of the holly. And it seems to be working well. It means that come spring, I'm gonna have to figure out what's going on with the drainage. I just love these urns. They're so big and beautiful. Just really pretty. This is another holly bush that we have over here with some of the berries. And the Pachysandra stays green through the winter too. So it is nice to have those elements that, I mean, I love my hydrangea, but as you can tell there, hydrangeas turn into a bunch of sticks for the winter. And love them in the spring, summer, and fall. But how nice to have that big azalea bush that's going to keep its leaves through the winter. It's nice to have that variety. Oh, there's our air conditioners. I'm working on deciding what I can plant here. If we have a nice hydrangea, but something that will cover those a little bit better would be nice. Heading back here. That's my ostrich fern. So first year with the ostrich fern, we shall see what happens come spring. Oh, I'm so excited about this path. I just cannot wait. I was really disappointed we didn't get it done this year, but it's okay. It's another thing to look forward to. And gardening is always a bunch of projects that you have going on. Come around here again. Oh, more squirrels up there. Okay. So here we are back in the backyard, and I just want to thank you so much for taking this stroll with me this morning. I wish you the very best holiday. Enjoy whatever is out there in your yard at this time of year, and I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll see you in the next video.